Good day, I'm Twyla Whelan, and this is your JIS News for Monday, September 16, 2024. Government and the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, JCTU, have now settled the final outstanding matters under the restructured compensation system for public sector workers. The Ministry of Finance and the Public Service and the JCTU, which represents most public sector workers, signed a heads-off agreement on September 12 addressing vexing issues for government employees. These include the reinstatement and increase of passenger mileage for travelling officers, as well as retroactive mileage payments. The agreement also addresses new overtime and uniform policies, in addition to the provision of subsistence allowance. A major bone of contention has been the payment of increments, which were previously paid annually to public sector workers on the basis of their performance or due to additional qualifications acquired. The agreement between the Finance Ministry and JCTU provides for the payment of increments to resume in March 2025 under certain conditions. This new agreement builds on the compensation restructuring framework signed 2 years ago to streamline the salary structure for public sector workers and simplify the many disparate allowances and benefits. In a statement on Friday, Finance Minister Nigel Clark praised his ministry team and the trade union representatives for their solutions-oriented approach to the long negotiation process, which he says has resulted in a highly significant agreement for hard-working public sector workers. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is working to revise the policy framework and procedures manual for the privatization of government assets during this financial year. The document is to be presented to Cabinet when it's completed. Acting Investment, Projects and Implementation Manager of the Economic Policy and Investment Branch, Joanne Felix, made the disclosure on the Ministry's television and YouTube series MEG-JC 360. The privatization policy, as it is commonly called, addresses the transfer of government assets, shares or operational responsibilities to the private sector. It establishes a 4-stage process that must be observed and the institutional framework for privatization transactions. The Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, which serves as the government's designated privatization agency, is responsible for implementing the policy. The DBJ falls under the oversight of the Ministry's Economic Policy and Investment Branch, which has been facilitating the revision of the public-private partnership policy for Jamaica.
One of the major goals with that revision was to incorporate climate risk assessments as part of the appraisal process for PPPs. And that's just one of the many ways that Jamaica is streamlining climate change considerations in its operations.
The government, in its commitment to restoring peace and security in Clarendon, has declared a state of public emergency (SOE) for the entire parish. A statement from the Office of the Prime Minister says the enhanced security measure is necessary to quell the surge of organized armed violence between rival gangs in the parish. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the national security situation in Clarendon has reached a point where further decisive and urgent action is necessary, emphasizing that criminals will not be allowed to dictate the terms of life and security in any parish. Mr. Holness says the government will use the full force of the law to protect the lives of residents in Clarendon and restore security to communities. A 14-day SOE was declared for the parish in August, which led to 2 persons being charged in relation to the Cherry Tree Lane massacre, which resulted in the death of 8 persons. The newly announced SOE is intended to build on that operation. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang is urging citizens to share information and cooperate fully with the security forces. The numbers are 311 for Crime Stop, 811 for the JCF tip line, and police emergency at 119. Members of the public may also call the JDF tip line at 876-837-8888 or the MOCA tip line at 888 MOCA tip. That's 888-662-2847. 56 attorneys at law, along with legal aid and justice service providers from the Ministry of Justice, have graduated from a 6-week training course in Jamaican Sign Language and Deaf Culture. The ceremony took place at the Gulf View Hotel in Mandeville last week, marking the completion of the first level of a customized sign language course developed by the Jamaica Association for the Deaf, JAD. In his message read by Permanent Secretary in the Ministry Grace Ann Stewart McFarlane, Portfolio Minister Delroy Chuck stressed the importance of communication in expanding access to justice.
Our responsibility as legal professionals is to bridge gaps, not to widen them. The attorneys at law and justice service providers who have participated in this training have gained more than just technical skills in sign language. You have gained a critical understanding that legal aid is not merely a service, but a lifeline.
Canada's High Commissioner to Jamaica, Mark Berman, echoed the point, stressing that the training enables individuals with communication barriers to engage effectively with lawyers.
This sign language training for legal aid lawyers is a step towards ensuring equal access to legal services, a fundamental right for all, including those with disabilities. Those individuals can fully participate in legal proceedings. Understanding and using sign language also involves learning about deaf culture, which can help lawyers be more culturally sensitive and aware of the unique challenges faced by their clients.
The Ministry of National Security will be distributing its Let's All Live Good activity books in schools across the country during the current academic term. The books, which were launched on May 31, form part of the Ministry's anti-violence initiative, Live Good. They include fun-filled activities, colorful illustrations, and engaging stories promoting peace and kindness. State Minister Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn says the books are intended to help shift the mindset of students as they settle in the new school year.
I think it's important when we talk about crime prevention that we start with the younger generation and instill some, values and attitudes in them. And I think this book, the Live Good book launch, is a perfect example for that, to really teach them right from wrong.
Minister Cuthbert-Flynn explains that the distribution will extend beyond an initial 35 targeted schools in zones of special operations (ZOSOs). She reveals that younger children, particularly those in primary school, are the focus, and distribution will be carried out between October and December.
So that is really the plan, is to kick off with a few schools by going into schools with our Live Good bus and to really, hand out these books to these kids so that we can change their minds.
The Let's All Live Good activity books will be distributed in schools where the Security Ministry currently operates in partnership with its education and health counterparts under an interministerial framework. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Twyla Whelan. Thanks for watching.